name is Jackie Fox, and I live here in Lima, Ohio. I've been here for, I believe, 28 years, and I've been in the field of community action for 36 years. You know, I worked for Head Start for a very long time. In fact, I was a Head Start parent years ago. I became an advocate for children and the issue of lead poisoning because in my experience as a Head Start director for years and years, I've seen the impact that it has on children. Because, you know, we test children for lead poisoning in all Head Start programs. And so I had to be part of teams that did interventions for children that were poisoned by lead, and some were very high lead poisoning levels. Well, we do know a couple of things about how lead poisoning affects children. And some of those things are obviously brain development and developmental disabilities, slowed growth, which is a huge concern for all, should be a huge concern for all of us, that our children are growing up with, you know, good brain development, especially before they start kindergarten. We also know that low to moderate income families are living in properties that are more likely to contain lead-based paint and lead service lines, and are more likely to be at high risk for lead poisoning.
My name is Betty Cantley. I live in Grafton, Ohio, Lorraine County. I became an advocate when Jason was 11 months old. When he was born of normal birth, you know, everything was cool. On January 10th, 1994, our lives changed forever. We had a fire, we evacuated. So I knew the house was older, and I knew the upstairs was destroyed some. There was some type of lead. They said it would be perfectly safe to move back to the house. I said I have a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and the baby. He's less than a month old. They told me, don't worry about it as long as you stay out from don't go upstairs. We did move back in. Jason slept downstairs with me. But as they were renovating, I must have been cleaning a couple inches of dust off everything every day. Well, they said it was safe to move back in, so therefore, okay, we moved back in. We thought we were doing the right thing. You know, we're listening to professionals. He lost his appetite. His skin turned gray, his eye turned gray. So I said, okay, 6 months old, I said, okay, let me call the doctor, see if we can get him a lead test. In November of that year, about 9 o'clock in the morning, took him for his lead test down in Elyria. And 1 o'clock, I had a phone call from the doctor's office. Jason had lead poisoning.
I became an advocate with lead poisoning in 1999 when my daughter was severely poisoned with a lead level of 70 micrograms per deciliter. At the time, I didn't know what that meant, but what it do mean is a death, seizure, coma level of amount of lead in her body that she could have had any one of those three things occur. I received a phone call from her doctor and was told to pick her up immediately and take her directly to the hospital for a direct admit. When we did finally get in the back of the emergency room, I wasn't aware still at the time what lead poisoning was. You take your child to the hospital, they get treated, they're going to be healed, and everything is going to be okay. Lo and behold, that was not the facts for me. And I did not find out that my daughter would not be healed from lead poisoning until 4 days of the 5th day before discharge. She was in the hospital for 5 days for chelation therapy treatment. There is no treatment for lead because there's no cure for it, but you can have therapy for lead poisoning, and that is chelation therapy. And that only removes the lead out of the body when you're at an emergency state. It helps reduce the damages of lead in the body to get it out at an urgent fashion. I started Concerned Citizens Organized Against Lead, better known as CECO, for my daughter. Since we started the organization, we have helped and educated over 178,000 people from 2005 to present. How many kids' lives have already been affected by this. We can't waste another second when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to working with families, when it comes to giving all means necessary to eradicate lead poisoning. We don't have time.
I started at Greater Cincinnati Waterworks in 2001, and previous to that I had worked in the engineering consulting field. I worked on various water and wastewater projects as a project engineer, and one of the projects I worked with for a client of ours was with Greater Cincinnati Waterworks. They did the right thing when it came to doing projects, working with people. They didn't take shortcuts. We started our lead program back when the lead and copper rule originally came out in the 1990s. But as time went on, we tried to encourage people to replace their lead service lines, which were on private property. We tried to add things to our programs, such as free lead testing. After we do a water main replacement project, we provide people with lead service lines a water pitcher certified for lead removal. We provided them information on lead and the risk presented and ways to mitigate that risk. But then after Flint occurred in 2014-2015, we started looking at our lead program in a deeper sense, and how can we really solve this problem? And the best way, really the only way to solve the problem, is to get sources of lead out of the drinking water systems.